days. Let your problems dissipate, 'cause I'm chill out. Let those worries leave your mind a bit chill out. Just unwind and have a good time.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? If you listen to this, then you're already on your way to starting your own podcast for free. Anchor.fm makes podcasting as easy as rolling out of your bed. Build your own brand, develop your own content, take over the world at no cost to you. Your podcast will be streamed through Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and if you're on your laptop, iTunes. If you haven't already made the move, download Anchor app now on Google Play, the Apple Store, or online at www.anchor.fm for free. Did I mention it's for free? It's your boy T. You're on the ride up.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your man B, and I'm riding solo, man. Gonna kind of have like a dual. We might come out with episode 22. As if you're hearing this, it's been a crazy week as far as schedules go. And so T's dropped 2 solo, 20-minute hits so far, and I haven't done one. And I think it's about time. Shout out to my partner, my boy. And he gave me some homework on the last episode. He wanted me to let's go through Nas's discography and pick 2 songs from each album. And I'm not gonna tell you which 2 songs I've picked from each album, because I actually haven't finished yet. But I did go. I was going through his discography. I was just going back and listening to the albums that I didn't listen to as much, and I found myself liking stuff that, of course, I already liked, and then not liking things that I think I glossed over. So I started with Hip Hop Is Dead, and I think that might be Nas's worst album. I'm gonna tell you now, it was hard to pick 2 songs out of that album for me, in my opinion. And this is all subjective, of course. I'm not gonna, tell somebody, especially another Nas fan, which Nas albums to like or not like. I personally would put Hip Hop Is Dead at the bottom of his discography. Between that and maybe Nostradamus, and even Nostradamus, it gets ridiculed, but it's not an awful album. I mean, it was bad, and especially it's bad at the time, but it had gems on there. I can't say the same for Hip Hop Is Dead. Then I listened to Streets Disciple. That was in the era with him and Khalees, and it had joints on that. The Thief's Theme is a dope joint. I probably just exposed one of those 2 songs, but Thief's Theme is a dope joint. There's dope songs on that album. Streets Disciple is probably in the bottom half of Nas's discography, but it's a dope album. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's okay. Not dope. It's okay. It'll get you. It's Nas there. Nas raps. he's spitting on that jump. Then I went back to it was written, and other than I'll say this: I have my top 3 Nas albums, and sometimes I say the Lost Tapes doesn't count. Sometimes I do, but say I say Lost Tapes. So for this conversation, let's say Lost Tapes counts. I gotta have Illmatic, Lost Tapes, and depending on the day, God's Son or Stillmatic as my top joints. Then I Am, then or It's Written, then I Am, and then maybe Life Is Good, and yeah, man, it kind of gets jumbled up in that back after the top four. Nas is a great lyricist, but I don't dispute that his song, maybe it's not his song making ability, his ear for beats, his hook work leaves a lot to be desired at times. He definitely needs help, just like I need help doing a podcast by myself. I've never done this before, so I'm not the biggest talker, so it's hard to keep a conversation going by yourself. And I admire the people that do it, even the people that I don't like Jim Rome does it by himself. I'm not a big Jim Rome fan, but he's entertaining, I guess, to a degree. Like a Rush Limbaugh is a terrible person and a liar, but he entertains, or I guess misinforms people at an entertaining level, and an engaging level. He is something charismatic about it. So I'm not it takes work. It takes work. I can bounce off people like crazy, that's easy. And hopefully people think, I don't want to have people think I'm smart or think I'm and it, like, I don't want people to agree with me 100%. I don't care if they agree or you agree or don't agree. I just want you to believe that I'm coming at a place of logic every time I say something. I'm sure I've said things that people don't agree with in these 22 episodes at some point. But as long as I think I have I'm following the principles that I try to keep, and my logic works out of that, and I'm good with it. Like, if something doesn't make sense that I'm saying doesn't correspond with something else that I think, then that's a problem. Right? People with these hot takes, they don't make sense from hot take to hot take, especially on these sports shows, and that's an issue for me. Like, you can Skip Bayless's or whoever, you know what I mean? Just go from sensational take to sensational take. There's no consistency. And I'm not with it. I'm not really with that. Like a cowherd, he's inconsistent with his little theories, little analogies. It's not cool to me, and I try to be consistent. At least if it's not as entertaining, at least it's you get something from it. But anyways, and I'm not loud. Like, T's loud. T is projects. T's we bounce. That's why I think it's a good mix between me and him doing the podcast, and just in general how we think. It works because he is witty. He can snap with it, and I just called my dog when I snapped twice. He just anyway. Let's get back to Nas. The reason why, because we don't talk music a lot on the podcast, at least not so far. I think we're gonna kick it up, especially with everything being suspended. And salute to everybody that is in this pandemic with us. Like, hopefully y'all tune in and take a break from the live tweeting, the social media. Whether you think it's a hoax, you think it's overblown, out of proportion, whatever. Something's going on, so hopefully we take a break, we unplug, but we can plug into some content that's not associated with all the drama that's going on outside. Keep your elders safe, and yeah, man, it's crazy out there. Don't beat nobody up over toilet paper. You know what I mean? Don't throw toilet paper through the Costco. Don't get stabbed with a wine bottle in the Costco. Man, that was crazy. Anyway, so he brings up Nas a lot in regards to me. Like, he wants me to defend Nas because he's a big Jay-Z fan. When I was growing up, I didn't like Jay-Z as much. I thought he would uh like he did this he was on 93.9, and he said he told the girl he don't freestyle for free or something like that. He kind of carried the host. I think it was Steph Lover at the time. And I was like, man, that Bama is too arrogant for his own good. I ain't rock with it. And it was like it was kind of like disrespecting us. Like, dog, we are your fans too. You can come down. If you coming down here, we want to hear from you. So I took, whatever. And Big was my favorite rapper. And he died, and it was like he was trying to take his spot, and it just rubbed me the wrong way at the time. Now I can tell you that I respect Jay's ability. I think Blueprint is probably my top 3, top 4 albums of all time. Yeah, man, but he's Jay-Z's one of between the two of us, he's Jay-Z's bigger fan. I'm Nas's bigger fan, and he always like yeah. Nas doesn't do this. Nas does that. Nas, Jay does this. Jay's the greatest. Whatever. And I can't argue that Jay's not the greatest. Like, Jay's the illest. He just dropped with Jay Electronica, Jay-Z featuring Jay Electronica. I guess Jay Electronica's debut album. And it's funny how Jay gets on this on the knowledge of self when he's with Jay Electronica. Well, whatever. It's dope. He can rap, and the bars. And this actually, let me just speak on that album real quick. That's the hardest I've heard his flow, his voice, his tone. I don't even know when, since maybe Blueprint 2. And so that's dope. It's I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it again, but it's a dope album. Y'all should check it out. Get your own opinion about it. Shit, man. Like Nas's discography, it's a lot. It's ups and downs. It's a lot of bumps and bruises. People been trying to replace his beats since Stillmatic. Like it's that's his failing. That's his failing, and I get people who don't want to listen to the bars because they're not like real punchy bars. They're illustrative. They're painting pictures. They're metaphors. They're stories, and some people don't have time for that, and sometimes I don't have time for it. I want to listen to Rick Ross or something, and Rick Ross does that too to a certain degree. He paints pictures, but not to Nas's level. Nas is A1 as far as a storyteller, as far as painting, just like canvases, like these individual songs. And I think that's why he caters to himself in his rhyme style than what people want to hear as far as beats. And that's probably gotten in a lot of trouble. Even when he tries to be catchy, like Owe Me Something. Owe Me Something is one of the Timbaland's worst beats. One of the worst hooks from Genuine. And Hate Me Now is really like, you listen to it now and it's like, oh, okay, it's not terrible, especially when you compare it to stuff that's come out in the last 10 years, 15 years. But at the time, it was like over the top. People wanted the Illmatic Nas, and Nas didn't want to do that. I get it, but and then you put Puff on the Hate Me Now, and it's Puff on a hook, and just saying Hate Me Now, and it was kind of, at the time, it was, it got its spins, but it wasn't what people wanted to hear from him. And then he dropped Uchiwali. I think that was like his probably, and that was on his, not on his album, but that was probably one of his his third biggest single, fourth biggest single. If I ruled the world, being his first. And it was another, it was, I don't know, it's not my thing. It was cool for what it was, and it was cool at the time. When you hear it out, out at some spot real loud. But I think the beat that beat is kind of weak, and in the same type of vein that he has, that his ear is. It's not for that. It's not for the consumer. It's not for that. It's not for that low. Yeah, the lowest common denominator. You know what I mean? It's more. I don't know. I don't know what he's like listening to when he hears some of these. Like, he'll get the weakest beat from one of the greatest producers, the good best producers, even at the time or whatever, all time. Like Alchemist has done stuff. Like Salaam Remi's done. He gets good work, and then he gets the subpar. And I think it's hurt his discography if we're talking about it. Life is Good, man. Life is Good was a really good album. The Untitled album, the N-word album, the Nigger album, that joint is a good album. I know there's rumors that he got some writing help, but even so, it's a dope album. I have 3 songs. I can pick 3 or 4 or 5 songs that are my top songs out of that album too. And that's probably the top 5 out. So Nas's top 5 albums. Let me circle back. It's got to be Illmatic, of course. People are gonna say It Was Written. That's cool. I like Stillmatic over It Was Written. I'll put Stillmatic number 2. Illmatic, Stillmatic, God's Son, It Was Written, and then the Untitled album, the Nigga album. Yeah, my top 5. So, then he has Lost Tapes 2, and then he has Nasir. So Lost Tapes 2 kind of lost me. 5 tracks in, I wasn't with it. I'm gonna have to spin back. That's why I haven't. I hopefully I get to hear that before we do the review of Nas's my top 2 Nas songs from each album, because I just didn't. It didn't catch me. And then Nasir, 7 songs, and the one that really jumps out to me, and it's not because it's good, is Cop Shot the Kid. It's not bad. It's just, I don't know, it feels manufactured. It feels a little plastic. The best song that Nas has come out with, it's not even on an album that's under his name. It's Nas' album done over on the Khaled joint. So, I don't know, man. It's his career, and now he's doing Capital Ventures. He's put bread up for Lyft. He's getting money everywhere. It seems like music's backseat to him, and I get it. A lot of the older artists, music is a backseat to them. You go from Most Def to whoever, it's like they're not recording new music for whatever reason. Record deals that they've signed 20 years ago still haunting them, or publishing or whatever. I don't know what Nas is or isn't doing with regards to all that, but it's a back burner issue for him. I'm sure he still loves music, but Nasir wasn't it. It felt forced. Felt like Kanye forced beats underneath of him. It felt it didn't feel organic at all. And I wish this was like 2003. Maybe we got a different outcome if they're that pairing. But it is what it is, man. Anyways, oh man, Nas for 20 minutes. I was speaking on Nas for 20 minutes, but yeah, man. I guess if I write something down, this would be easier. This was all off the top of the head, and hope y'all follow me, give me some feedback, and I'll do another one because T seems to want to run off into the sunset with our YouTube channel and our lives. So whatever. Anyway, shout out to him, man. That's my boy. Get your bread. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll hit you on the next ride. Peace.